The Spin-off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you find it hard staying optimistic with all the financial news in the media? I'm Bernard Hickey, and on my podcast, When the Facts Change, I'm here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of economics in Aotearoa. So join the conversation every Friday on When the Facts Change, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in partnership with KiwiBank.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay.
There's the cold open. Got it.
Kia ora koutou, welcome to The Real Pod. That's my best sing-songy voice.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Upbeat. It's sunny Tuesday morning.
Goodness me, big old day. It's a Tuesday
Is it?
morning, but when you're listening to this, it's definitely not Tuesday morning anymore because you've just watched the semi-final? Is that what you'd call
penultimate.
it? The penultimate episode of Celebrity Treasure Island for 2023. And no, wrong year. Sorry. Like Cam Mansell thinking it's 2021. I'm thinking it's 2023. We're somewhere in the middle there.
Soon, though. They could be listening. Someone could be really late.
Exactly
and
right.
welcome.
Yes,
I
thank
hope
you.
it's okay in 2023. I'm sure we're all doing fine.
This is your reality TV and I was going to do the old this is a shocker. It's your reality TV and pop culture in Aotearoa podcast, and we are of course going to be talking about the Monday and Tuesday night episodes of Celebrity Treasure Island. We're also going to be talking a little bit about F-Boy Island. Just Alex is still kind of hanging in there.
I got some stuff.
You're like Dylan Schmitty hanging on by the curly bits of your fingers.
Crying.
And we can finally reveal JJ's secret boyfriend.
It's going to cost you.
It's going to cost you
$3.49.
a bargain, truly.
It's not bad. You can't get much under $5 these days.
Cheaper than a coffee.
Go outside, you spend $100.
Exactly. I had $1.31 in my bank account this morning. But it's
tough.
payday.
It's payday. We've been talking about this. Oh, the 2-week pay cycle. Brutality.
My name's Janie. I'm joined by Alex Casey. We've got we don't even have a chair anymore. Like that's how far he's gone.
He's just not this. Why pack down the mic? Why are we even pretending that this man would be in a podcast with us?
Duncan Grieve is in Sydney, I believe, doing businessy things.
Back across the ditch.
For the final week of CTI, he planned that badly.
I think he's just doing some more chain work in Australia. It's fine. We talked about it on the pod. He felt free wearing the chain in the Gold Coast. So
That's
I think
true.
He's trying out a new territory.
Do you think he might make a little chain gang over there?
Possibly.
Oh gosh. Okay.
We love him.
We love him, but he's not here. Who is here though is Te Ahi Butler.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Te Ahi. But look at you. You've got a little mate. Do you want to explain what's going on here?
Yeah, I've got my mate Samuel with me today. Kia ora, Samuel.
Tēnā koe Aihe, tēnā koe Jane, tēnā koe Alex.
Did I did introduce ourselves. That's the
You've
whole
introduced
thing
us,
of what
yeah.
I'm doing. I always forget.
You got distracted by roasting Duncan while he's not
I
here
did.
again.
Sorry, Duncan, if you're listening, which you definitely are not. Samuel is new to the pod team. He's new to the Spin-off Podcast Network. He is sitting in on this record, and he is going to be editing it afterwards.
What he's doing is he's learning from the best in the business about how podcasts get made.
In the state-of-the-art studio.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, so we
Like Aihe's secret shadow.
we have a weird audience of one at the moment.
Yeah, maybe that's what's throwing us off. No offence. It's
No
just
offence.
like
It's just we're usually
climbing up, you know.
Yeah, it's performance anxiety, right? A little bit like what Cam Mansell experienced in the what was it? What were they doing? They were digging around
Threading
in the
a hole,
sand, threading the
yeah.
things in the sand. There's a lot of sand, so much sand. Anyway, we'll get to that. Let's get into the real news. Sue Nicholson is having a sale.
I almost don't want to talk about this because I feel like it's going to be the breaking news banner of the New Zealand Herald as soon as some little snake listens to it out there. Sue Nicholson has started a private Facebook group called Sensing Sue's Closet, where she is selling all her old shrugs, kaftans, kimonos, chiffon for, I would say, a reasonable price, but for an extortionate rate, like $40 a pop. Yeah.
Is that extortionate or is that perfectly reasonable for a nice summer
For a
fit?
second-hand, like...
Yeah, sorry. It's not, it's memorabilia.
True.
Like,
we do
literally
need something
memorabilia.
for the museum.
For the museum.
She's shifting units. There's a lot of leopard print. I'm in the group. There's
Yeah.
about 1,000 of us.
Okay, that's a lot.
And they'll let anybody in, you know? So if you're looking for a new summer look, Sensing Sue's Closet on Facebook.
I've been watching Sister Wives. It takes forever. It feels like forever for it to come out for me because I enjoy it so much. And I know it's not New Zealand reality television, but I've been invested in this show for a long time. I've been waiting for 12 years for it to get good. And finally it has because one of the wives is left, which is amazing. Anyway, they have a business called My Sister Wives Closet, and that's what it's making me think of. Is these?
Wow.
I just feel like Sue Nicholson's actually quite Sister Wivesy vibes. I'd love to see a crossover.
Is it religious? Is it religious? What's the story there?
It is. Yeah, it's Latter-day Saints. I think they generally, as a religion, reject polygamy, but there's still sort of some people who feel very called to be polygamists. That's their way into heaven and so on. So basically a narcissistic dude who wanted a bunch of wives.
Husband wives.
Yeah, that's pretty
Cool.
much it.
So it's gotten good after 12 years.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but man, so good.
Can I give another quick recommendation?
Yes.
To a reality show that I've started watching? Hunted Australia. It's on TVNZ. It is so good. It's 20 Aussie drongos in a van and they release them in the middle of Melbourne, and then they have these like top level British intelligence like ex-police all in a headquarters trying to find them. And it's just like they're fugitives on the run. And so anything they do with their phones, their money, they have to be really careful. Some of them immediately run out of the van, run into a toilet, shave their head, put a like real bad wig on. It's like amazing television. It's shot like an action film. Highly recommend.
I think we've talked before about what... have you ever thought about like how you do a murder? Or how you'd get away with a murder? Like what you would do?
Well, there is the old ice bow and arrow.
Oh, okay.
Or ice.
I've never heard of it, but I'm sensing what you're picking up there.
You know, the ice
Yeah, and then it melts
the
and
weapon's gone.
yeah,
But that's
right.
from like a riddle.
Yeah,
I
no.
haven't actually really thought about it.
Oh, neither.
To be clear, if the jury is ever listening to this and I'm...
Sometimes I just think like how, you know, you hear of people who never get caught and you're like, how did you get away with it? And it's almost like, is this show teaching people how to get away with it?
Well, heaps of them get caught within like 20 minutes. It's
Right.
so funny. It's just really, really good. But then there's some, like one of the teams has a former cop in it, and he's the one who, and he's paired up with a hairdresser, so he's got wigs for Africa.
Oh, my goodness.
And they are like so far from Melbourne already, and the cops are like, we've got no idea where these guys are. It's just really amazing TV. I watched like 4 episodes back to back on Sunday. Loved it.
I hate it when you give me recommendations for good shows because I immediately want to watch them and I've got no time, Alex.
I'm sorry, Jane.
Got no time.
Make time.
Can't.
Make time for
Between
Hunted.
children and work and Halloween,
Don't even get me started.
I want you to start.
What a great holiday. Can I
love
just
it.
say that?
I
The
love it.
best holiday
It should be
ever.
a holiday.
All Hallows Eve.
It should be a day off work for us to be able to prep, get our costumes sorted, last minute trip to look sharp. You know, I was still splattering blood paint on my costume.
Scrubs.
Now, like 5 minutes before leaving the house, and so I had to go out with wet paint on me. Now, if it had the day off work, I would have been able to sort that in the morning and let it dry all day.
Now talk me through what your costume was.
Okay, well, it was appropriated from Hexwork Productions, our sister company, who did a clear out of some stuff, some props from some stuff they were shooting. I grabbed a doctor's outfit with scrubs and an overcoat, lab coat type situation and a stethoscope. And I was like, that's not scary enough. So I covered it with blood splatters and I thought, I think I can level this up a little. And so I asked Maisie if I was able to take her baby doll and also splatter that in blood and wrapped that in a little blood-splattered swaddle. So that
I
was
mean,
me.
that's just another day at the office, isn't it?
I know, for a midwife.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, this is actually what it looks like,
Yeah.
you know? So it was quite... After... I was just saying this before, and I apologise. I know I haven't said it in a while, but I used to live in the States. And they really go all out for Halloween, as you know, you've seen on the television. Those of you who've not been lucky enough to live in LA for 10 months. And it's like kids are desensitized to the scary shit by the time they're about 5. So you've got these 5-year-olds walking around, these like zombies and people with like really realistic looking like makeup of cuts in their faces and all that. And the kids are just like, this is great. Whereas in our neighborhood, it's all like bloody Spider-Man and fairies and princesses and they're just not scary enough.
Right.
And I think maybe...
You want to show them the horrors of birth.
I think my bloody baby was a bit much for some.
Can I ask, in the narrative of your costume,
Wasn't birth.
was the blood yours?
No,
or was it
no.
the baby's?
It
or was it the
originally,
mother's?
before I brought the baby into it, it was just like an operation, you know, an operation gone wrong. And then I was
Okay.
like, what
Or
would make
gone
this-
right. You're like, you know,
True,
you've got to
who
break a few
knows?
eggs.
Mm.
But it's Halloween, so definitely gone wrong. You know,
Right.
like
But
I'm a
so-
psychopathic murderous
God,
doctor.
So, this is getting too... Was the baby
The ba-
alive?
well, you know, it's like Taylor Swift song lyrics, open to interpretation. You
Okay.
know, like
Okay.
you choose your truth. You see this
Wow.
picture and you choose your own
That's
your own
most
truth.
confronting.
I like to think the
thing of
baby
all.
was the murderer.
True.
Baby was working with me.
Yeah. Oh.
We're a team. Anyway, lovely time trick or treating, lots of candy. Love to see it.
I went out to West Auckland, stayed at my friend Ashley's house because her street goes pretty hard for Halloween and she wanted some support, giving out the lollies. And I threw on a cape, did a little blood, a little blood
Oh,
thing.
you look good.
And then threw on some silly glasses, and I was like, this is fine. Made more effort than most of the kids, for God's sake. For God's sake, kid walking up in a basketball singlet, saying I'm a basketball player.
Yeah. You know what that is, though? That's New Zealand just being a bit shit at Halloween. It is. I don't blame the kid, okay? Because I think it always comes back to the parents. When I was a kid, I used to go around doing exactly what that kid did. I'd put on some like shorts with palm trees on it, a shirt, chuck some binoculars around my neck and a visor and say I was a tourist. You know? Terrible costume.
Good. At least there's like accessories involved there.
Yeah, but
There's-
it still was just working with what was in the house, right?
True.
And very last minute, like kind of, oh, maybe we'll go trick or treating. Yeah, it's not raining, let's go, kind of thing. Whereas in other countries, I won't name any specific ones.
No.
But in other countries, people get organised, they make a thing of it, they get their costumes sorted, and it's such a good time. And you don't see people wandering around in a basketball singlet saying they're bloody, who's a basketballer? I don't know, Larry Bird. That's quite an old callback.
Can confirm Larry Bird is a basketball player.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think parents
So
need to.
we all need to go to LA.
You all
That's
need to
what
go
you're
to
saying.
LA for a research trip. Ask your boss, whoever your boss is. I'm sure that'll be fine. They'll pay for it, and then they'll give you a day off work as well to prepare for Halloween. That's
In an ideal
flawless.
world. I did get to have some banter with the kids, on the door.
Yeah.
And I got a few things quite wrong about people's costumes, including there was a kid who had like a, like the Day of the Dead kind of Mexican skull on his face. And he was like, I was like, oh, what are you? He's like, I'm from Coco. And then I went, we don't talk about Bruno.
No, wrong one.
Not from Coco.
Not from Coco. No.
From Disney's
Yeah.
Encanto. And he looked at me like I was the biggest idiot. I revealed myself.
Did he know though? Did he get the reference?
He just did nothing.
No. Yeah.
Like, kids not very good at banter.
No, they're
I
not.
realised.
They're not. There was one house actually that we went to where they were making the kids do a trick, and half the kids walked away without candy because they didn't know how to, how to do a joke or something on the spot.
There
But
was
it's tough when someone, even a comedian, you can go up to a comedian and go, be funny, and they can't.
there was one kid though who I didn't even ask for a trick. I just opened the banter floor again, and I was like, "What are you dressed as, young sir?" Because he was probably like 9. He was wearing white shirt, black tie, black aviators. And I was like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm a business owner." And I was like, "What's your business?" And he's like, "I'm a lawyer." And then he pulled his aviators down and was like, "And yes, I do evade my taxes." And I was like, "What the hell?"
How old?
Like 9 or 10.
Amazing.
I learned the word evade when I was about 26.
Probably actually a business owner. That's the terrifying thing.
Based on his eloquency.
Speaking of which, speaking of business and Halloween, stick around for Max Key Corner at the very end of this show because I have an update from
Thrilling.
social media that you've all probably already seen. Anyway, God, we're
What
really
else? Quickly, okay, we've got to get
Okay.
CTR.
Well,
Talk about FY Island quickly.
No,
No?
We got to talk about JJ.
Okay.
We got to put JJ Feeney, Scandal
We
Queenie.
don't talk about JJ.
We do talk about JJ because she's revealed her boyfriend, who I had already worked out who it is because I'm like the cops and so on Hunted Australia, right? Figured out who it was. But I kept it quiet because I was respecting, right? Didn't tell anyone. I was like, I figured out who it is, keeping that stum. It's up to JJ to decide when she's going to reveal her boyfriend. She's sort of been slowly revealing him body part by body part in a weird way.
It's like Naked Attraction.
He'd turn up like his legs and his would be in the background of her stories or his hands gaming. And we'd see bits of it, but we didn't see his face until now. She did a have a wine with us
A
event.
Facebook Live event.
But
a private event.
But it costs you money.
$3.49.
Yeah. $3.49.
Can you put a
Meet-
price
Meet the man.
on information?
Yes, $3.49. It's the exact price you can put on it. So I don't know how many people turned up to this thing. I actually would have paid to go on there, except for that JJ knows who I am, and she'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
You know, like might just seem weird.
I don't think so.
Don't you
Just
think?
kicking in. Well, the thing is, it's still available to watch.
I
Even
might
though the
watch
event has
it.
lapsed, we could watch posthumously.
No, okay, Hunted Australia, JJ and Hawani. And I can say his name now, Hawani, because it's out there. And now he is on, he's on her Instagram now. He's released from fill in the rest of the sentence for me.
Released from
I don't know.
jail?
Purgatory.
The monolith?
From identity purgatory.
Embargo.
He's released from embargo. Thank you.
That's why you're here.
Okay, and he's out there now. So he is going to be featured in all the HelloFresh, all the trips to Rotorua. In fact, I think he's just had his first trip to Rotorua
Oh,
with.
that's like a heartbreak trail of Manu.
Oh no, I was just
isn't
thinking
it?
that too. Just as soon as you said that. As soon as you said that. I
God,
wonder if Manu's got a burner account he's watching on.
true. $3.49. Oh my God. Good on her though. Have we got a Women's Day cover yet? We got a Women's Day spread?
I certainly hope so. If not, someone's
Get it
not doing their
together.
job properly. Okay, F-Boy Island. Quickly, give us the rundown.
Okay, well, I'm still watching it. I'm not proud of it, but I'm still watching it.
You just need to
It's
record
not
a disclaimer.
It's not fascinating. It's not like, it's just intriguing to see what they're doing with the format because something crazy has happened at the end of episode 6. So we're, I assume halfway through the show. There's still a good bunch of lads left. And they're basically like, okay, at this elimination, 3 of you are going home and you'll reveal your status, but then the rest of you are also going to reveal if you're an F-boy or a nice guy.
All remaining contestants.
All remaining contestants. And there's still a lot of the show left to go. So that leaves me going, well, what's going to happen now? Maybe they're going to bring in more mystery men, or maybe they think the connections are kind of strong enough with some potential F-boys that the girls might keep going for them, knowing full well
Right.
their truth. I don't know.
Are there good connections there?
There's people pashing on a hammock.
Okay, that's a good connection.
But I just thought I'd give you a little update as a reporter of the news.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
A real lot. We're going to get into reality check.
I have 4 weeks to decide if I'm going to drop my entire life video.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
This is fine.
Okay, final week. How are you feeling, Alex?
I'm feeling, look, it's bittersweet, isn't it? I forgot that the final week is not actually that great.
It's less interesting. I guess you've got less personalities around for all that kind of fun, B-rolly type stuff.
Yeah. And it's very challenge based, which means
Yeah.
it often relies on the physical, and it
This
starts
is-
to become clear
yeah.
who's doing what.
This is the thing, I think, that bugs me as someone who'd love to have a crack, is that I look at this last week and think, I'd never survive any of this anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just so physical. Give me a charity challenge where I have to put on some upside down goggles and try and push a potato into a hole or something like that. That's more my jam.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that Celebrity Treasure Island is something that kind of is a level playing field. Yep, there might be some physical stuff, but and I know there are puzzles, but it just feels like this final week really does come down to a lot of real physical stuff. Even digging shit up in the sand.
So much sand
There's
work.
So much sand work.
And it's just hot, very unpleasant to watch,
yeah.
I thought.
It's There's so much horrible stuff to watch this week. But it's all leading to a wonderful place, which is $100,000 going to a charity. So, Monday night's episode, we left off with Court having the decision of who's going to be paired with who. And she does what I honestly didn't expect her to do. And she doesn't choose Jessie. She chooses Siobhan.
Yeah, because of the whole wanting a woman in the final thing. But I was like, shouldn't you distribute the woman? Like, so you can be certain a woman will be going through.
I think what it is, truthfully, is I think she really sees herself in the final and she probably thinks that she can carry another woman through, in this case, Siobhan. I also think, though, ultimately, she wants to not have Jessie in the final. And by pairing with Jessie and trying to get herself through also means trying to get Jessie through.
He comes through. True.
So I think yes, it's great that she's doing the feminist thing and she's trying to push women to the final. But I think there's also an extra. We know how much of her motivation is just to beat Jessie because it comes across very strongly in these two episodes.
Well,
They're
she
not even
cracks-
talking about winning the game anymore. They're talking about just beating Jessie.
Eliminating Chuk.
That's the real treasure right there.
Yeah, I think you mean they're obsessed with beating Jesse Chuk.
Sorry,
full
Jessie
name.
Chuk,
Jessie
full
Chuk,
name.
every time.
That's what he becomes when he becomes the villain.
Siobhan always
That's a
says.
very good Siobhan impression, by the way.
But Courtney clocks that he's the traitor.
Oh,
right?
yes, this is a big deal, right? Jessie's been going around sort of telling little bits of the truth. Like in every lie is a little bit of truth. Every good lie is a little bit of truth, right? Because that helps make it more believable. So he's been sprinkling tiny bits of the truth in, but in amongst a lot of lies.
Yeah.
And even telling different things to different people, but still managing to keep it all in motion. Honestly, like a very good player.
Very good player.
And even when he's caught out in a lie, he still just deny. And
Because he
there's
can
nothing-
smile.
Yeah, and it's
forever.
It's kind of gaslighting, right? It's like crazy making when someone is like, you kind of know that they're lying, but they're denying it, and they know that you know, but they're making you feel like you're the one who's going bonkers, and that's what's happening to Courtney.
Yes. She did start to get quite sulky. And she didn't quite say gaslighting, but she nearly got there.
She nearly got there.
She's like, oh, so I'm the crazy one then. And I was
Yeah.
like, I've used that in a fight before.
Court's really like she's really trying to figure out if Jessie's telling the truth about what he said about the monolith, and asks around, gets everyone together their stories. I didn't realize at first that Jessie was actually just sitting there through this whole conversation, but there he is. And then she decides to read her logbook, her captain's logbook,
Very closely, once more.
and the word traitor pops up there.
Interesting.
Traitor who's
Wonder who that could be.
taken off with the treasure and hidden it. And she joins some dots, and she decides that Jessie must be the traitor, not the navigator, and she tells Siobhan this, and Siobhan says, oh, maybe. And once again, Court's thrown into a spin because she's like, how does no one see what a big deal this is? Jessie might know where the treasure is, and no one thinks this is a problem.
Well, I suppose everyone's already on board with getting rid of him. Like, what, even knowing more, what does that do to their game? You
Well,
know?
I think it probably, you're also then talking about questioning a friend who's been telling you big porkies. Big
True.
old porkies.
Huge.
Hugest of the porkies. They do that little heart-to-heart thing with Matt and Bree.
The recap.
The recap, they kind of reveal all the alliances, some of which people knew about, others they didn't, like the one with Court and Cam. At one point that Court and Cam were in an alliance, and Susan and Elvis were very surprised by that information.
That's right. And Susan said she's never broken any rules
No,
on the
and there
show.
was a damatization of Susie running around in her pajamas, sneaking out of boundaries, pounding on the monolith.
She was just going everywhere. She
Yeah.
might be popping back to the office, you know, like all sorts during the
Tending
show.
to some emails.
I do think, like, it's nice to stop and reflect, but I would prefer a reunion show after the finale in front of a live studio with them all in their, like, Sunday best, you know? Once they've
Yeah.
all seen each other shit-talking each other behind their backs and stuff. Like a woman tell-all.
But at the same time, I feel like that almost needs to happen immediately after they've shot. So it doesn't, like,
True.
I know it's impossible because
True.
there's a process in which they have to eat it. But while it's all still fresh in their minds and they're all still feeling emotional and kind of like, because I feel like that period between shooting and it airing, probably a lot of hatchets are buried. You know, a lot of people have gained perspective, come back to their normal life, and they're not so caught up in life on the island. I think if you got them into a room together to hash it all out, immediately, like where they had to watch back tapes and things, that you'd see some real sparks fly then.
Although it was interesting, if you cast your mind back to the party, who wasn't there?
Who wasn't there?
Mel wasn't there. Mike wasn't there. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
possible that I think some of these fractures have run quite deep.
But everyone, I know Mel left too soon. Like she left before her time. She could have gone on much further in the competition, but she did have ultimately fine relationships with everyone, didn't she?
I can't remember.
Mike King, I don't think he's in everyone's speed dial.
No.
At the other end of this. Anyway, Court does that last minute alignment with the Dame and Siobhan to try and get the gals through to the final. She pairs with Siobhan. Jesse realises he's been all worked out. Cam and Susan are the other pair, another pair, and Jesse and Elvis, the final pair.
I love Cam and Susan together.
Just amazing.
Give me a travel show.
Oh, give me any show with those
Anything.
two.
Give me a cooking
Except
show.
for a podcast, because then we'll be dead in the water. Elvis realises at this point, everyone wants Jesse out. And Court's just paired me with Jesse. What are you saying about me? Am I seen as a weakness? Maybe, but clearly wrong, you know?
Yeah.
He is definitely not a weakness. He just absolutely, I mean, we see, right? They absolutely hammer the first face off. And this is the one that means that they don't have to, that they're definitely through to the next day because they win this. It's the digging up the puzzle pieces in the sand thing.
First of many sand challenges.
Yeah.
The cats in the litter tray.
Yeah.
Digging up puzzle pieces.
Putting them together on a pole.
Finding 10.
Then looking for your 11th.
Then looking for your 11th out of 10.
This was heartbreaking for Susan and Cam because
Or was it perfect?
I mean, it was both. While I want this, I don't want to watch it in real time because I feel like this took ages. But at the same time, I want to know exactly how much in advance they found that 10th piece, thinking it was their 9th, and went back. Like, how long did they spend looking for this piece they had already got? Like, was it 2 minutes or was it 20 minutes? Because if it was anything more than 5, you can probably assume that they would have won. Don't you think?
The whole game could have changed.
Yeah.
But part of the challenge is counting.
That was probably I dare say, easiest part of the challenge. Just counting from 1 to 10.
I loved it. But they were in good spirits, Dame Susan. Talk about Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah.
Cam said we're the perfect combination of dyslexia and dementia.
I think the thing with this game is that for as many times as you're like, damn it, if I'd done just that thing slightly differently, I would have been through. There are so many times where it's like, phew, I just got through, you know, like on luck somewhere else. So, you know, no day is guaranteed, Alex Casey is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Every day on sand is a
Powerful.
good day.
Yeah. And count your puzzle pieces.
That's, I think, the one thing we should all take away from here. And honestly, take that into life too. Because when you're doing a 1,000-piece puzzle, it takes you a few days over the holidays, and you're working really hard on that. You get to the end, and there's a piece missing. That's heartbreaking.
But you're telling me you count out the thou before you start?
But if you really wanted to avoid that heartbreak, you'd have to, wouldn't you? Maybe there's some sort of weighing thing you could do. Maybe I need to invent a puzzle piece weigher.
It's a good idea.
No, it's not.
$1 million idea.
Extremely limited market for that.
Sell it to your mum.
Sell it to Warner Brothers. Sell it to Cam
True.
Mansell, and to Susie D. It's a top 6 with an awkward silence now. They were really all happy and best of mates, but now there's this heavy weight hanging over them that 2 of them are going home, and it's either Cam and Susan or it's Siobhan and Courtney.
And also Jesse's realised just how much people want him out.
Yeah.
And he says, if you come for the king, you best not miss.
That's so good.
And do not underestimate Elvis Lopetti.
Yeah,
Which,
great. 2 great quotes.
amazing.
Face off number 2. This is the one that's going to see a team eliminated. Looping, this one looks easy, I dare say.
Yeah, I thought so. Especially because they had time, like Siobhan did, without the blindfold on, where they could see the pattern. Like
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, it goes up and down and up and down.
I think what was supposed to make them come unstuck, and very nearly did, but there was a technical, was at the end, because of the way they hadn't pulled their rope all the way through, it was actually really hard to bring it back to the middle. And Siobhan was heaving and heaving and heaving with her rope to the point where she just pulled out a pole. That was clearly not supposed to happen. And had
No.
the pole not come out, she might not have pulled it through to the middle. Because
Sliding
of,
doors moment yet again.
yeah, the friction on the ropes through the holes, the loops. I think that's part of what they were supposed to do is kind of they get to the end and realise, shit, I needed to pull more rope through at the
Right.
beginning to be able to get, the slack to pull it all the way through.
There's
But what are you
another-
gonna do? You're not
there's
gonna-
another saying there. There's another life lesson somewhere in there.
Stitch and
Give yourself
time.
enough
pull
rope.
enough rope to
slack.
slack.
Keep the slack.
Pull the loops in the middle. Or pull as hard as you fucking can, ruin the equipment, they're not going to reshoot it anyway, and you're through,
Yay, Siobhan.
Yay, Siobhan. They absolutely nailed it. It was very sad to see Cam and Susan go, but very happy. My moment. Remember last year in the final, and when Chris Parker was running around to ultimate victory, and he was so far behind, and then he's just like yells out to himself, "Let's go, Chris Parker!" And it was the sweetest thing.
Yes.
And for me, silly game. Like Dame Susan running off, waving her arms around, reminding everyone it's just a silly game was just glorious.
So good.
I loved it so much.
She also, we have not mentioned, had a spectacular fall.
She did. Yes, I know.
Off the starting block before the challenge during the emotional charity monologue.
Who knew we were going to get another fall of all time?
Loved it. Collapsed right off the box
Yeah.
and then just was laughing in the sand
Yeah,
for a very long time.
Brilliant. She just put her weight onto the edge too much, and the whole thing she just tumbled.
I'm not sure why, but I was watching her just before she fell. Like I watched her fall, and there was no reason for her to fall.
No.
She
Right,
just
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She just did.
yeah.
At what age does it swap from falling over to having a fall?
Yeah, no, I've talked about
it's
this
a good
before.
question.
I think 65.
Obviously not as old as Dame Susan because she got right back up.
Yeah, no, she's in her 50s.
58.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's still got time.
But also she's an athlete, so she's basically, I don't know, 45.
She gets another 10 years.
She gets
so
another 10 years.
75, yeah.
She gets 2.5 years for every world title.
It's only fair. And Matchism said, Dame Susan, is there anything you can't do? And she said, I can't stand on a box.
Anyway, the final four got off to the luxury camp and some yummy food.
Yum.
And what a time.
I love this part of it.
Yeah.
Because it looks so good. It looks so comfy and there's like a capsicum weird
Yeah.
on the platter, you know?
Fine. It's fine. And they all went straight for the capsicum.
Bites and fruit.
We're gonna and then that's where we end, eh? Mm-hmm. That's where we end. So no real cliffhanger except for the fact that we've only got 2 more episodes to go and it's all really getting down to it. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly and we're going to talk about Tuesday night's episode, the penultimate episode of CTI 2022.
Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, senior writer at The Spinoff. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I cordial with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spinoff Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
Talofa lover, I'm Madeline Chapman, editor at The Spinoff. If you have the means, consider supporting our high-quality journalism by becoming a Spinoff member. Sign up now at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Welcome back.
Wow, how were those ads?
Good, thanks. Okay. Well, we've been sharing our secret ads, the contestants on CTI, their very last night. And, they've still got... No, for some it's their last night. For 2 of them it's their last night. They've been sharing all their secrets. They've been having a nice time, bonding.
They've had a cricket. in the midst.
They've had a cricket in the midst. Oh, no, it's only for one of them. It's there last night. I'm sorry. Maths is not my strong point today. I am Cam Mansell in the Puzzle Piece Challenge. Today's about to be ruined because there's a challenge ahead.
Aw, not on a bloody challenge show.
The winners of this challenge get to choose a clue from the losing pair. This plays out real weird, by the way.
I just start thinking, the clue thing, I don't know. Does it really matter?
It must be important if it's a prize at this point of the game.
I guess so. Just follow everyone else.
This looked like a bloody horrible challenge. Puzzle, fine. Pushing the things through the thing, fine. Digging up that net full of those blocks.
Terrible.
Horrible.
I mean, Courtney and Siobhan were onto it pretty early when they realised they could use the sea to their advantage. When it kind of washed in, they were like, no, this is going to undo all our work.
Yeah.
But what they realised is it actually kind of floats the thing somewhat.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
Because Jessie and Elvis were just stuck.
I know.
They were completely stuck.
They were stuck until the very end. Like, this has been the most, what's the word? Uneven challenge that we've seen, or uneven result. Ever? Possibly?
In history.
They essentially didn't get started.
Do you think that it was fair?
Why would it not be?
I don't know. Maybe they were closer to the sea.
No, the sea washed in on those two as well.
They just didn't use the sea.
They didn't use
Which is ironic
the sea.
given Jessie's background.
But obviously you can't replicate exactly how the blocks are each going to be kind of positioned and how far into the sand. Like the challenge supervisor will do their very best to get it as even as possible. But there might have just been, I don't know, some nasty little block that was just wedged right in there on one side. Who knows? I don't want to take away anything from the girls because they fucking nailed it, man.
No, they were amazing.
Were absolute beasts. They yanked that looked heavy. Because even when they got it out,
heavy.
Getting it up the beach looked like a horrible time.
And that puzzle was insanely weird. Like, why did they have to push it through that channel thing and then stack it all up?
Because you can't just take puzzles. Because otherwise the challengers get the puzzle pieces and put them together. There's got to always be some other
Push
mechanism
them through
in there.
a tunnel first.
Yeah, get them through a tunnel. But they had to keep, I guess they had to keep track of how many, because there were 24 puzzle pieces. And one of them was almost blank or was blank. So they needed to make, I don't know.
More counting, is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't want to do it. I'm not very good at it today either.
I also liked how just Elvis and Jessie were getting increasingly frustrated. Not really with each other, just with the situation, but Elvis started being like, okay, hairy chest. Suddenly became real obsessed with Chook's hairy chest.
I think as well, while they're doing it, when someone's like, when you're trying to do something, and I think you'll probably find, I don't know, maybe with Joe, that you might be doing something and he's like, just do this or just do that. And you're like, I'm fucking doing this. So even though you're angry with the thing that you're frustrated with, sometimes someone else piping up going, come on, pull. Might be like the most, it's like giving birth, right?
As you'd know.
Well, I've never pushed one out, but.
Well, Halloween.
I feel like, it's true. I feel like as a woman, if I was pushing a baby out of my downstairs, and it was really hurting, and I'm probably upset at being hurt, but then having, it's tale as old as time, having Dad come over the top being like, push, you can do it. It's just, that's why they get the fuck off, like it's, sometimes, and that was Elvis.
That was Elvis.
They were trying to birth baby blocks.
They were.
And Elvis was getting frustrated.
And then they ended up
They just sat down and started making
going for the sunroof, really, and taking them out one by one from the top.
There's too many block babies to be in a net, I can tell you.
Should have been a water birth.
Got it.
Nice.
Anyway, moral of the story is that Siobhan and Courtney take it out by absolute miles. They get to steal puzzle pieces.
Did you catch the fantastic sledge from Courtney afterwards? She ran over and hugged them and said, what were you guys up to?
Oh, yeah.
Good work.
Dangerous thing to do, I reckon, because you never know when you're going to lose a challenge.
Yeah, true.
Spoiler alert. So they get to, I said puzzle piece, I mean the girls get to steal clothes from the boys, and Siobhan takes Elvis's spindle. I don't think Elvis has a ton of clothes, so she hasn't got the massive array of options that Courtney has. And I don't know how they decided who got to choose from who.
True.
But Courtney was able to choose from every possible clue that there is because Jessie has them all.
Every clue, yeah.
And she chooses the one clue that he's got two of. Which, are they exactly the same or are there different coordinates on? But who knows?
No idea.
It's not clear.
No.
Jessie is no idea why she's done this. He's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the least valuable of all my clues, the one that I have an identical version of.
What he's done there is just he's overwhelmed her with stuff and information. It's
Yeah.
like when you go into the chemist warehouse, and there's just so much you don't know what to choose, and you end up choosing the wrong
She should take
thing.
the bloody screwdriver that had a note in it.
But she's already got a screwdriver.
But it doesn't have the note in it. He took the note out. Oh, could she take the... No, hang on. Is the note not part of the...
Don't know.
That's confusing.
Don't know, Jane.
But I think probably what drew her to that, the Glasson's block of number when
yeah.
you go into the changing room, is that it had stuff written on it, right? So with the other things, they're more like, how are you going to use this? How are you going to use a spindle? What's the screwdriver? She's got a screwdriver. I can't remember what the other clues are.
Yeah, I
I can't even remember. I can just remember the spindle and the screwdriver.
Yeah.
But something that's got writing on it feels like that's important.
Useful. True. Very true.
So I guess
Make
that's
your
what
own
she's thinking.
spindle out of your hair.
Yes, yeah. Make some, get some flax, some harakeke and make some rope or something. I don't know.
There are options.
Compass. That's the other one.
Compass,
Compass would be
that's
quite
right.
handy.
Just for life.
It's hard to orienteer without a compass.
God, I don't understand how a compass works.
North,
Don't
south.
talk to me about it.
Neither does Perlina, by the way. She couldn't get that compass right in that puzzle. Send her home. Courtney takes Jessie for a chat, whips out her pilot's logbook, says, "You're the traitor." He denies it. No. Don't know
Just
what you're talking about.
smiles at
Well,
Cheshire grin.
Look at me smile. Courtney just goes a bit crazy from it all and then tells Elvis her theory, and he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe. He's playing the game, but I don't think he knows where the treasure is.
Don't
Lol.
be stupid.
Don't be silly.
Who would do that?
And Courtney just feels like she's all alone in this. The one person who would believe her story is the person who's denying he's the traitor. Now we are down to another really horrible challenge.
And a confusing one for me.
What
was the... Did you just have to get them all...
Very simple.
Was it all one colour?
Yes, you just have to get them all one colour.
So it was just whoever tired out first. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ah!
But there's some strategy involved, I doing, kind of looking what the other team are doing, where their fastest runner might be going, and when you need to time the turning so that Basically, it was running around flipping boards to your team's colour, and it looked horrible. I think Jessie said after 1 minute, his lungs were burning, his legs were burning. And if Jessie Chook is saying that, then literally no one else has a shit show. It looked horrible.
At least they subverted gender norms, Jane.
They did, and they did that in the previous challenge as well. Yeah, so I'm sure that's not...
Boys can flip pink puzzle things around as well.
Yes, and they did.
2023, for God's sake.
It's really nearly almost there. It really is. We are so close. Christmas is next month, by the way, so you can see how I got there.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2023 already. This thing's a nightmare. There's collisions. I mean, Courtney's bouncing off of other people, getting herself back up. They're flipping those boards. Half the time they don't look like they know what the rules are. Alex Casey definitely doesn't know what the rules are.
Going on.
But they just look really tired.
It looked hot as hell. Brianna was stressed.
Running on sand sucks. Running uphill on sand also sucks. Having to do it ad infinitum, the worst.
Whoa, Latin.
Thank you. I actually did Latin at school, so worth it. And yeah, Canis est mea, the dog is in the street.
Oh my God. Per Angusta ad Augusta.
Yeah, you too.
First trials
Happy
to triumph.
birthday. This was quite emotional when the girls didn't win this because A, they knew they had to go up against each other and they really didn't want to do that. Bree was getting teary. And I think after it was just all that physical exertion, leaving it all out on the beach and then not coming away with the win. And it honestly feeling like it was quite close for most of it.
Yeah. And they just seem totally exhausted. Like
that shot, like
the culmination of the whole game kind of in one exhausting challenge.
Yeah, and their dream of getting, both of them through to the final was over. And the shot of Siobhan sitting back to the camera, just hunched over and just like her shoulders rising and falling as she was panting and just, head in her hands kind of thing.
Yeah, and Courtney was in the fetal position in a sand dune, just sobbing. It was awful.
It was really, really awful.
And I do think it's like a shame that those competitors had to carry the extra weight of like representation. Like that was such a big thing for them that, that's something that, meanwhile, and they're having this back and forth being like, you go out there and win. I want you to win. You're a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Elvis and Jessie are like, I'm going to stab you in your sleep. Like they just don't have that same burden because
they're not
the show's
carrying-
been won by men every single time.
Well, I mean, I think Hayley Holt won it back in 1924 or something. Around the time we got the vote, I think it was something like that.
There was a part of me that was just hoping in that sequence of shots that Elvis would come up to Courtney and just say, "What were you guys up to?"
Oh, shit.
You did so well.
Can you imagine?
It was a
screwdriver in the neck.
It was a big difference in how close those two challenges were, though, to be fair. But that would have been a great burn. Siobhan and Courtney, they have that good cry laugh about the situation they're in. Siobhan says she's battling with doing the last challenge at all, which they know is going to be an endurance challenge between Siobhan and Courtney. And I can completely understand that. Like, they're absolutely rinsed from having to just do what they've done. And now to do endurance. Ugh.
Yeah.
And Siobhan, like, Courtney's very athletic. Siobhan is clearly more athletic than she thinks she is. But I can understand how that might just feel like too much today. Too many things, I'm tired and now I have to battle out with my friend.
Yeah.
And this sucks. It's woman against woman again.
It's interesting how Siobhan always wears that large jacket. Even in the middle of the day in the scorching sun.
She probably doesn't want to get sunburnt.
Clever.
I think you'd acclimatise after a while, Anyway, I was so worried that Siobhan was about to pull out and just say, Courtney, you just go through. Because I was like,
can't have
we're
this
getting
again.
along in the episode. We don't have time for this challenge. And I was freaking, is this the way that we get our top three? Is that Siobhan just goes home? I'm so glad she didn't.
Same.
I'm so glad she didn't because that would have been the second time that Courtney would have got through, kind of, just floated on through. Well, not floated on through, but you know what I mean.
We need an emotional battle. We
I feel like
unfortunately we need to see them destroy each other.
I feel like we're about to get one. And so Siobhan and Courtney go off to their elimination. One of them will not be returning to camp. They're clearly shooting it exactly the same way they did last year, where we're not going to see who the winner is until they walk over the rise.
That's right.
It's going to look like it's very, very close. No one knows who wins, and they're going to walk over the rise, and then Elvis and Jessie will be like, "It's you."
Yeah.
Which is exactly, and also the celebration, the quiet celebration, and then
so good.
of Jessie and Elvis is an exact recreation of what Lance and Chris Parker did last year.
Yeah, true. And Jessie, they were like,
Yeah.
And then Jessie got round to whipped her shirt off, and Elvis again was like, she's here. It's just so fun. I actually really like their dynamic. I also like how Elvis is like, oh yeah, whatever that boring navigator thing that you won. Like, he's constantly kind of undermining all of Jessie's powers.
I think that's probably when Jessie's most tempted to reveal all. It'd be like,
True.
no, it's really important.
Yeah.
Damn it. So the elimination between Court and Siobhan's, this feels like stick. They're holding a rope. It's very simple. Got to hold a rope. If you let go of it, the bucket of water drops on you, which just feels like kick a woman while she's down.
I know.
Just a tiny bit of humiliation to finish it all off.
Yeah.
And I am worried they're wearing jackets. I'm worried they're going to get really hot in those jackets and they're not going to be in a position to take those off.
Because they can't.
Well, you hold the
hands
rope.
off.
Keep the rope on.
Goodness me. Gosh. Do you have a prediction about who do you think will...
Well, I predicted not early days, but a few weeks ago I predicted Siobhan, Court and Jessie in the final. So we got pretty close to that, but it's definitely not what it's going to be, obviously. So I predict... I'm going to say Siobhan. I'm going to predict Siobhan. In fact, I'm going to predict Siobhan for winning the whole damn thing. Or Elvis or Jessie.
Amazing.
Maybe even Courtney. One of those four.
I'll be keeping stum. Sarah here. Do you have any predictions?
I don't have predictions, but my heart of hearts desperately wants Elvis to win.
Oh, it'd be so good if Elvis wins.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Jesse's the beau. Lots of love, Jessie, but Elvis is just such a undercover hero of this whole show.
Yeah. It's so funny, the people at the beginning that you just like, I knew who Jesse Chick was through people. We didn't really know, he was one of the celebrities that people were like, who's that? And now, Jesse Chuk, it's Jesse Chuk, obviously.
Can't stop hearing about him.
Here he's yes, mate. It's Jesse Chuk, obviously. So tomorrow we're going to have an episode and it's going to be quite exciting. We have lined up to talk to the winner, whoever that may be.
In this studio.
Yes,
they will be coming in.
I won't be. I'll be in Wellington, but I'll be zooming in.
It's exciting.
It'll feel like I'm there.
And where will Duncan be?
Where he is now on the Chain Gang on the Gold Coast with his gold chain. And that's that. That's our pod for today, but we'll be back tomorrow. Looking
I always
forward
feel
to it.
sad when we get towards the end, eh?
Yeah. I cried watching this one last night, by the way. I cried. I cried at the end of that challenge. I cried when the girls were having their chat.
Aww.
I am going to be that bucket of water, of tears, when it comes to tomorrow's episode.
It's a metaphor.
And, yeah. Anyway, we'll see you then with the winner.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
It's good news. It's all good news. And a charity gets $100,000. What's not to love? We'll see you then. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Samuel. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Jane.
It's Duncan. Goodbye.
Thanks, Duncan. Not.
From the Spin-Off Podcast Network, you've been listening to The Real Pod. Oh, God, no. Whoops.
Do we make a mistake again?
Weird, but true. I know. Usually flawless, but here we are. I promised the Max Key Corner. We need to have some Max Key Corner.
Like and subscribe.
Max Key Corner. I know. I'll never forget you.
Subscribe.
Before I reveal, well, it's not news, but before I reveal my tidbit in the corner, I just want to acknowledge Samuel. He needs a roasting. Welcome.
No, I'll take it.
Because he was like, okay, first of all, thank you for remembering. Appreciate that. And now you're going to get punished for it. So he remembered that we'd missed a segment that we teased at the beginning of the podcast that he referred to as Channing Tatum news.
Which is now, moving forward, going to become a segment on this podcast.
What's he up to? I haven't heard anything about him recently.
Well, there's a new Magic Mike coming out. Did you see
there?
that? Yeah.
Okay, that was actually turning into...
Channing Tatum
I see what
news.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Turn it into Channing Tatum
I'm just
news.
saying.
Are you Channing Tatum?
I am Channing Tatum. XXL is my shirt size, so, you know.
Okay, Max Key Corner. Max, well, we know he's back. That's not news. He's out there building houses. He's doing TikToks. He's still on Instagram. Fear not. He's there this week with John Chow from Stonewood Key property. John Chow, one of the Chow brothers.
I stayed in one of John Chow's hotels in Wellington.
Right, how was it?
It had a clear bath, like had like glass bathroom walls.
You
and
weren't
could
at one of
see
the
everything.
brothels, were you?
Well, there was talk that it may have been repurposed.
Anyway, the Chow brothers, famous for mostly for their brothel work, in business with the Keys, and now seemingly John Chow and Max Key, the most bizarre of best friends, dressed up as the Joker and Batman for Halloween.
Who was who?
Who do you think?
Key Batman.
Key Batman.
Yeah.
Of course. So I've got, do you want to see?
I'd love to see.
A little live reveal.
This is great.
Okay. Went pretty all out with their costumes, and I think, well, I was going to say hired a car, but probably just own it. But it really is a nailed it
Holy
situation.
Okay, so this is like an interesting...
And they like recreated a shot of the Joker sitting down and the Batman standing behind him.
It's actually insanely funny. Also, Key, that's not Bale's Batman. That's not Bale's Batman. I've got a lot of respect for the Joker costume.
The
really funny lime green look sharp wig.
But I think it's the weird friendship. Like, it's one thing to be in business together, but to like Halloween
A duo
together.
Halloween costume is a big commitment. It's a lifelong commitment, really.
And also, like, the difference is that there's a before and after, like an Instagram versus reality of them pre-costume and post-costume. And the difference in John Chow's face from pre to post, I mean, obviously he's wearing makeup, but just the expression on his face in the pre versus the post is quite whiplashy.
Whoa. He's done a very good job. Oh, you can just like feel that cheap fabric like from here. So sweaty.
Anyway, if you're bored today, go have a look at that. That's it. That's
That is worth coming back for.
Thank you. And that's our show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Kia ora e te iwi.
Te Aihe Butler here, podcast manager at The Spinoff. If you enjoy listening to our podcasts, consider supporting our mahi by signing up to become a Spinoff member at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
The Spinoff Podcast Network.